Can you describe the range rights? How were they derived when people first got out here, and how did your family get them?
Okay.
As it relates to the government?
First thing you need to realize is that these western lands, when the Mormon pioneers moved west, were not part of the United States. The Mormons were treated badly by people in Missouri and in those Midwestern states, and they asked the United States government for redress of grievances, and they were denied any type of comfort. And so when they moved west, they weren't just moving west, they were fleeing the United States of America because they were not being guaranteed their rights to life, to liberty, to property. In the state of Missouri, they had actually made a law that it was legal to kill a Mormon. And that law was not rescinded until, I'm trying to remember the exact date, but it was like 1990 something. Up until 1990, I don't know which year exactly, but I do remember it was in the early 90s that the state of Missouri finally rescinded the law that it was legal to kill a Mormon. So anyway, the Mormon pioneers fled the United States, came to Mexico at the time, and as the Mormon pioneers, or any pioneer per se, when they unbuckled their oxen or their horse from their wagon, the first thing that animal needed was a drink of water. And so they would lead it down to whatever water was available, and it would take a drink. And in that first sip, in that first belly full of water, they began creating a water right. And that is called prior appropriation of beneficial use. In other words, they made beneficial use. In other words, that water did that horse a benefit, did those people a benefit, and in so doing, they began to create a right. The very next thing that animal needed was a mouthful of grass, a mouthful of food. They didn't bring haystacks with them on their wagons. They had to rely upon the forage that grew here. And in that first bite of feed, it also began creating a right. And then the longer they use it, the stronger that right became established. Now, this method was recognized as legal ways to create a right by the state of Mexico, and the longer it was put into use, into beneficial use, then the stronger that right became. Now, it was only a few years until the Mexican-American War happened. We already talked about it a little bit, but America took control of these western lands, and the treaty that ended the Mexican-American War was the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. And in that treaty, it recognizes those rights, and so those rights passed from the state of Mexico into the territories of the United States. And they carried on through the time that this land was a territory. And when these lands divided up and became states of the Union, each state again carried that recognition of those rights through to statehood. Okay, so now in this case, the state of Nevada recognizes those rights that those early pioneers created through beneficial use, and incorporated those rights into their state law. So Nevada state law recognizes the water rights and the grazing rights that were established by the original pioneers.